ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Wrestling Roundtable. And do we have our normal, usual suspects when it comes to the Roundtable? First and foremost, let's go right into it. He is the man who is a smart mark, who is the co-host on the Max Wrestling Podcast. My dude, my homie, throw it up for the TSK and all the peeps. The one, the only Mr. Moses Marquez. How are you, Mo?
I haven't heard smart mark in a long time.
Hey, man. It is what it is. Truth is truth. You have a lot of history of them podcasting, and it's a lot of good emphasis on the good stuff, my dude. And speaking of good stuff, we'll go up to the tippy top here. He is the one, the only collector, protector of your neck, Wu-Tang Clan style. The one, the only Mr. Roberto Davis. How are you, Robert?
Ready to talk some talk.
Also, as well, with his drinking in his joint because it's legal in New York, because that's how he rolls. The one, the only, Mr. Daniel Crimmins, the pile driver pundit, my homie. What up, DC?
We live in the dream. We're ready to talk some AEW glory days.
I'll pay you. I love you.
I'll pay you.
Also, as well, joining us this time around, she's not asleep. She doesn't creep. Not on the download. TLC, crazy, sexy, cool style. I'm talking about the one, the only Miss Nicola McDonald, the Demoness. How are you, Nicola?
Hello. I'm awake.
Nice to see
you. I'm exhausted as fuck, but I'm all right.
Also,
she stayed up for us, bruv.
She did, bruv. Also,
I always stay up for you. Hang on, I'll always stay up for years, though. Even if I've been working endlessly, I'll always stay up if I can.
Also joining us, late entry. Here he comes into the show. He is the RWT dead man, the dead man of RWT, the one, the only Mr. Paul Morales. Paul Morales, what up, man?
There he goes.
What up, my dogs?
Nobody in a row, brother Paul.
Nobody hit his theme music. What the fuck?
Nah.
I know, right? Hey, I'm casually late. Hey, it's a little bit easier.
It's normally me.
Casually, you say.
Mike. Hey, Mike, since Paul's the dead man of RWT, maybe we can get like a gong put in there, like right before you bring him in. Just like a random gong.
We'll get the random gong. I got you. So we got it in post.
Lights go out. Shit gets foggy.
I know.
but no American Badass. We can't afford that song.
Oh, shit.
But what we can't afford But what we can afford to do is talk about what today's topic is here on the Wrestling Roundtable, the first year of AEW 2019, and the announcement, the 6-year anniversary of the announcement on BTE of AEW. So to set the scene for everybody, WWE in 2019, to put in the bluntest of terms, was the drizzling shits. And as we were on the road,
couldn't have said it better.
Well, we got Seth versus Brock going into that WrestleMania, Triple H and Batista. Give me what I want! And as well as Kofi Mania and so many other parts going into that year's WrestleMania,
which we wouldn't have if it wasn't for Bryan Danielson.
Yes, and we got to thank Bryan Danielson for that, because that was a bright spot on 2019. But one of the big things in 2019, and coming off a very successful All In, the first ever of its kind, going into 2019, there's a little episode of BTE, Be Elite, Be Elite. They got all their phones, and it was the announcement with Cody, the Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, of this little thing called All Elite Wrestling. So what I will do is I will start up top and make it down to the bottom row here. Robert Davis, your thoughts, your opinions of the announcement of this new professional wrestling company, because it's always exciting to see new pro wrestling. All Elite Wrestling, go.
Thank God, because WWE at this time, like you so eloquently put it earlier, was the drizzling shits. It indeed was. It was getting really, really hard to watch WWE at this point. Those of us in our little circle here, we were finding refuge in other places like New Japan, to some extent TNA. We dig back in ROH. Hell, we
froze.
Okay, so as I was saying, because I was up there, now I'm down here. Some technical difficulties. We've got this new company coming in to help, I guess, quench the thirst of those of us that were wanting something different.
I'm thirsty.
Because we were thirsty.
Hey,
we some thirsty bitches.
Yes.
I'm not saying it. I really wanted to say something bad. I'm not gonna.
You're on the
wrong show.
You're still going to the Lonely Island.
Yeah,
Nicola's about ready to throw you.
You're not all going. No, you're all going Titty Island. I'm going Lonely Island.
Titty City.
Titty City.
I'll wave as I go past, shall I? You're not going to all sit there and
Goodness.
titty city
She's
over
going-
that. See you later, bud.
She took this whole show, a whole X-rated up on us. That's all she's doing.
That's what I do on our show as well.
Hey, I'm for that. I
We
am perfectly
expect
fine
nothing
with it.
less.
We
It
expect
was in the
I
waiver. Didn't you
know.
sign the waiver?
No, I don't need to save no, sign no waiver. I'll rip it up and burn it.
Okay, so
I
after
apologise for my rude jokes.
no, you're fine.
Fuck
She
you.
doesn't.
We
You're
don't
amongst-
apologize up here.
So Robert said it perfectly. We all wanted a new spice. We all want a new taste of something with professional wrestling, whether it be an indie or a different company. That's the beautiful part of professional wrestling. And now I will move over to the Mo over here, the Mo for the show here. Now, Mo, being the AEW fan that you are and that I've known for many of years, what were your thoughts on the fact of this big announcement on the Cody, Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, phones, everything galore? Your thoughts of this new company coming to fruition?
It was as Rob had mentioned, we in the TSK were in this lovely little hub where probably drooling over every BTE episode, trying to figure out when is something going to happen. We kept hearing the rumors of them having the talks of having a financial backer, having somebody who's actually willing to put up the money to give them a new actual promotion. And then the thoughts came in of, well, again, for me, because if I always go back to this, to the WCW era. You actually have true competition, somebody who's willing to bring more of the sport aspect rather than the entertainment aspect. And especially since the Young Bucks, Cody and Kenny, Hangman, all of them were coming from Japan, we figured we were going to get, as we continued to call it, New Japan Light. And for a while we did.
We did.
But the initial thought process before we even saw a first episode was, yes, here we go, New Japan in the States, just a little Americanized.
For real. And now I will go over to DC Daniel Crimmins. Daniel, your thoughts on this big extravaganza, that being All Elite Professional Wrestling, man?
You know, I as a few of us here are old enough to remember, WWE up at this time was like mid 90s WWE, where it was cartoony, it was campy. In a word, lame. And I will always say the biggest mistake ever made in professional wrestling was Vince McMahon buying WCW.
Yeah.
He's a mistake in general, wasn't he?
Well, that too.
That too.
But just the same, you know, at least closing WCW was a huge mistake. And Mike, you and I had, you know, we've done a show where, you know, what would have happened if WCW hadn't died then, you know, check out Uncaged. You know, cheap pop here.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Gotta do the Mick Foley cheap pop. But, you know, it was exciting. I remember reading this like, okay, you know, it's, I didn't know who the cons were. I don't think really anybody did.
I did, because of the football
I
team
did.
that he has over here.
Fulham.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to see that, okay, I thought, oh, well, this will just be another TNA, but just, you know, more, you know, more well-known people. But then seeing what they did, it was exciting because it was something new and it was somebody that had money. And the product didn't look like it was something in a freaking warehouse.
Yes.
Now, I have to get the Demon Lady's thoughts on this because around this particular time period, Nico and I, one of the biggest things that started our friendship was our love of TNA. And one other thing, besides the fact of TNA, you have another company to check out in AEW. So I got to ask you, for someone who wasn't into that WWE life and didn't see the drizzling shits that we all got to see, and as someone who was about that TNA life and she was caught up in the undead realm, we now have something else to put inside your realm, if you will, your surroundings, if you will, ma'am. What were your thoughts on the introduction of All Elite Wrestling and another wrestling company coming to fruition? Competition is great. Also, it's another breath of fresh air for professional wrestling and more people to get hired and to get exposure.
So, yeah, I wasn't a fan of WWE back then. It was, for me, a lot of all based on TNA and, yes, the undead realm and all of that. And I was literally, that was the only thing I was watching. And then eventually that appeared. And I like you said, it was refreshing, something new. There was talents I knew about, but obviously hadn't had the chance to watch. But I was hooked straight away. But then again, I'm hooked to everything these days, so it kind of all balances out now. But I'm like, but yeah, we did. That's how our friendship started, actually, weren't it, Mike? The fact that we both sat there watching TNA and then started chatting, and then I met you, lovely lot, as well, and then became what I am now, which is insane and deranged.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord,
and a demon. So yeah, mad love to everyone on this show and everyone else who is involved with all of that stuff. But yeah, anyway, it was impressive, and I liked AEW straight away.
That's the thing.
It's what's the Americans? They made me crazy.
They're making me crazy.
That was yeah. Well, I would be lost without without all of you lot. So yeah, you know, you're my sanity.
Well, I think
I haven't murdered all of you just yet.
Oh, well, I look at it like this. I think what's great about it too is I've always compared it to, it's like if you're watching women's wrestling back in the day, especially during the Ruthless Aggression era, it was more very much a smidge of time. But if you look at other promotions like Shimmer and Shine, more time for the women.
Love Shimmer.
Well. Yes. And
Shine.
Professional wrestling as a whole, you need more of that to really showcase and get your shine on. Not to quote Jesse McCartney, but get your shine on here. But what I love about the fact is, like you guys mentioned, New Japan. Like New Japan brought something else that was so different from the strong style, from everything in general. Another style of professional wrestling to the States. The translation, the fusion, the transition of everything. It's something that a lot of us can really sink our teeth into, and that is what's great about the gravitational pull and art form of professional wrestling. So we go from that, and I have to ask this before we get our initial thoughts on what we first thought about Tony Khan and what we know.
Hey,
I love you. I know the best thing I have to add to that is as well, because something else really occurred before we really get into the events and our thoughts on the initial Dynamite. But y'all, Hall of Fame happened, and we're talking about a pissant company. He gonna fire you again, Billy, and he gonna purchase that pissant company. Said some things at the Hall of Fame. He said some things, if you will, verbiage, whatnot. And I'll start with Mo on this because Mo, you had some strong feelings. You're very passionate. You got
He's a dick.
All right, we'll get to that, Nico. Dickhead. Now, the first part about it is Moses Marquez, as long as I've known you, you've always had such strong feelings about this. But I have to get your first start on this, Mo, my bro. Talk about it when you first heard Triple H say it at the Hall of Fame, the pissant company. Psst, like R. Kelly Sheets talk about the thrift store. Go ahead, Moses.
Don't mention his name.
Not to R. Kelly. I had to do it. But Nicola hit the nail on the head. It's one of those things where in the professional realm, I guess you feel you need to take the jab. However, the reality is who fucking cares? The competition ended up helping out that company in the long run. It beat you in the Wednesday night wars, whatever have you. But it's always good for business. But to go out there and to throw just jabs for the sake of throwing jabs made no sense to me. It still doesn't. I still didn't understand the random jabs that they would throw when Vince was in charge. We're going to put a PLE on when fucking Collision debuts, or we're going to do this, or when this happens, and just something to try to always counteract them as if they were encroaching on their territory. As if, and in all reality, we always knew that it is the alternative. It is not going to be the end-all, be-all, because, again, WWE's been on television since, 92, 93?
93 was the initial Raw, yep.
Exactly. So for 30 years, it's been on television. How is this small company who is garnering steam supposed to take you over? But, again, that also just showed you how worried they really were, that they have to take the jabs, that, oh, no, it's the pissant company, but reality is we don't hit them first. It's the Chael Sonnen thing. I can't let you get close.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
To kind of piggyback on that, though, we all kind of talked about this amongst ourselves too. Like, we never saw this as competition. We always saw this as the alternative, because that's what we wanted as fans. We wanted a fucking alternative, and we finally got it.
Now, Paul,
I think had TNA not went over to like transitioned over to whatever the hell fucking Jeff Jarrett with Alberto
Force Wrestling,
to GFW, to Impact,
I hate that, man.
Back to TNA. But had they stayed their course, now I'm just in general, had they stayed their course and just said, Scott D'Amore, you're in charge, you run this show. Had they did it back then under Jeff Jarrett, I think we would be looking at AEW as being the third major company in wrestling.
Yeah,
because TNA was holding a lot of steam in 93 or 2003 or 13, 14 and 15. Like they were still garnering that steam, that they were really the second company in North America. So up until they went to shit, it was like we didn't have an alternative, but we had an alternative. It wasn't until All In 2018 was when everybody was like, oh, look, this is everybody that's over there coming over here. And that's where everything started. That's where all the hype and all the excitement that was going to happen in 2019. This is what we got, and it was that anticipation that Vince was just like, oh, okay, there's somebody else coming into my territory. There's somebody else trying to inch their way into what we had.
Right. And I mean, to go on to your point about TNA, I mean, you look at them at their time period, like when they're in a 2004 and it's the launch of the Impact show and you get 3-hour pay-per-views, something that used to be $9.95 on Wednesday night pay-per-views to transitioning to Sunday, going from Fox Sports Net to Spike TV. And then, of course, we'll go to Destination America and Pop TV. And of course, Pursuit and Twitch, and it's had so many different iterations. But I look at it like this. You had some strong competition with TNA with who they were bringing in. And like you mentioned, when it went to shit, I mean, if you look at TNA around this time period, going from 2018 to 2019, well, this all ties in together. It's when Johnny Impact won the title at Bound for Glory and Austin Aries gave the finger and said, fuck this shit. I know, you're welcome.
That dude.
But it's one of the, and his banana. And it's one of those things where you look at some things like that and how we really got to see transition and transfusion with so many different companies, which brings me to you, Daniel Crimmins, because we've touched upon this as well many a times. We talk about the influx and everything that we got to see. Your thoughts on not only Triple H's jabs, but also the fact that there's a new company in town, and we're even going to get into it, guys. All of us are. The start of everything, the rally in the parking lot, the press conferences, introducing new stars. So apropos.
And I'll pay you.
And I'll pay you. I love you. What were your thoughts on just the overall iteration of just what happened?
Baby Tanahashi-san.
I look at AEW as, and you all know I'm critical of Tony, and sometimes justifiably so.
Not when you're high.
Hey, true. But anyway, I look at AEW and my hope is that they succeed. I thought, oh, this is an alternative, not just for us fans, but in the sense that for wrestlers that don't work out in WWE, don't work out in TNA, this is an alternative for them. Like, you got people that, hey, aren't going to work out in AEW, but hey, maybe there's WWE that will work out for them. There's people in WWE that, didn't work out there. Look at Ricochet. Did okay in WWE, but he's doing really well in AEW.
He needs to start his daddy up, though.
You got Timu Tate now.
No.
God.
He is Timu Tate.
Glorious.
That's the first time I've had to hold my tongue.
I'm going to say this.
No, don't bite it. No, don't bite it. That hurts.
Say it. Go ahead. Say it.
Oh, fuck you, Andrew Tate, you piece of shit. Oh, I hate you. Do not come to the UK. You're not going to be president. I will kill you personally.
SMD.
Ring. M style, I'll kill you. Now, to put it to fruition.
No, Demoness style. I'll kill you.
I'll say this, Mike.
I'll kill you.
AEW to me is a second hope. It's a new hope. It's something different. And I'll never understand, and Kenny even alluded to it this past week, wrestling is thriving. Like, I think as a fan, it's pretty damn cool that you have literally something for everybody. You like the deathmatch stuff, you got GCW. You like the more athletic, less storyline based, you got New Japan. You like storyline, you got WWE. You want to mix? You've got AEW for that. Are there things that AEW has done consistently well since the beginning? Absolutely. Are there things that they need to do, that they need to work on to improve? Absolutely. But then again, what company doesn't need to improve?
Right. And I mean, I've always compared it to it like this. So when you really start watching it, I'll compare this with AEW since Tony Khan now does own Ring of Honor. When I first started watching Ring of Honor, you had Bryan Danielson as the Ring of Honor World's Heavyweight Champion, the Jay Lethal low-key feud, the Homicide Colt Cabana feud. You have established stars really on the come up, so to speak, and they were going to many different promotions. Samoa Joe as the Ring of Honor World Champion, and Mo, you and I have talked about this and others. That Samoa Joe Kenta Kobashi match, that was absolutely amazing. Like, there's so many different things that really go into what makes it, from the characters and everything, the different iterations, like we mentioned continuously. But it's great to see something. You need a variety. You need another alternative for people to really get into and sink their teeth into. And I think with the AEW brand, you introduce people like Nyla Rose, and people said what they will about the time about Nyla Rose, but here's a woman who's worked in Japan, who's worked the indies, very strong-willed. You brought in people like MJF. You brought in so many different people from the indies to really get a spotlight. That's what it's about. It's having that spotlight, honing your craft, boom, here they are. So I got to ask you now, so you're bringing in these stars. How important is it not only just to see the influx of these talent, but for you, and I'll start with you, Robert Davis, on this, because with everything that's in the indies, especially on the West Coast with PWG, Mo, and Paul, y'all can agree with me on this and attest to it. But goddamn it, how important was it to see these indie stars get that spotlight, if you will?
You know what? Being on the West Coast, we are privy to a lot with PWG. Being a big home base for a lot of the AEW wrestlers. So a lot of us that have seen a PWG show or been to a PWG show, we know what these guys are capable of in ring. And to actually have that be seen on a national front, we were all pretty proud of that as West Coast guys, to have, the promotion that we've seen a lot of these people come up in, be showcased on TV. Now, I know a lot of the guys in WWE, Kevin Steen, El Generico, those guys came through PWG also, but to have the PWG style, which is a little bit different than WWE style, be showcased on TV, we were excited for it. To have all these new talents come through, to have people see for the first time, it was exciting.
Oh, great. And I mean, and Paul, I'll go to you on this. To see people that we've all watched, from the MJF and Nyla Rose, really get into that. I know you're very privy on Nyla Rose, and we'll get into her when we get into the whole debut of AEW Dynamite. But dude, how great is it to see these talents getting the shine? Even Kylie Ray and so many people like that at that particular time period. It's another home base and another place for people to work, man.
I think we look at everything that WWE wasn't doing at the time, and we look at the people that they've let go and the people that they were never going to showcase on their show, and nobody that Vince would put on the show on a regular basis, that they ended up releasing even in 2018, who went onto the indies and decided, what, we're going to do things this way. Look at Jericho left, reinvented himself, went over to New Japan, had such a great had a couple of great matches with Kenny Omega. So, him getting involved with them. Then eventually we got Moxley that came in. That whole, at least I believe that those two were kind of like, we're saying that this company is legit, because you took two guys who weren't being utilized really, really well in WWE and have just pushed them into the forefront with these new indie guys. Well, a lot of the indie guys that we knew, but not a lot of people knew here in the States, and they were just putting him on this whole different platform. And, it was great. It was great for all of us to just enjoy what was going on. And we got to see it, from day one.
And I will say this, because Paul just made an interesting thing, because I think we're going to transition to that, my friends. And I'm going to start with Nicola on this, because I know how we view him now. But Chris Jericho, hi guys, hi, hello, woo!
Fuck that dude.
With how he is now. So Nicola,
hi everybody.
Hi guys. Do you know what? All the gimmicks he's ever done, this one is the most shittest one I've ever seen.
But somehow
this shit. Hi guys.
Oh fuck. Okay, so Nicola,
you asked the question. You knew what was going to come out of my mouth.
We can't stop doing it though. Hi guys.
Hi Hi, mommy.
I'll pay you.
Yeah.
I'll pay you.
So, what do you want to ask me?
No, you're fine. So Chris Jericho 2019, he comes in, he's one of the pivotal parts of AEW because again, he's off with WWE. He came off the match at Wrestle Kingdom 2018 with Omega. He has the rematch with Omega going into Double or Nothing, which we'll get into. But I got to ask you specifically, Chris Jericho, your thoughts on, hey man, this longtime dude in WWE doing his thing from 99 until 2018. Your thoughts on Chris Jericho being a part of All Elite Wrestling?
So I know I take the mick and I say that he's a douche, whatever, but at the same time, he has always been talented. He's great at what he does. He's very creative. He can change himself over and over again. He is a douchebag. It's that simple, especially now. But that's just a character. But I like that he was in it. Also, was AEW known as World of Sport as well before it was called AEW?
No.
Because there was something here that was to do with Cody, Kenny Omega, and
I forgot who tried to get that going, but then it ended up crumbling because a bunch of the people
it crumbled.
decided to not go.
I thought that was what AEW was beforehand.
Did they try to revive World of Sports?
I think that they did.
And then it was UK based as well.
If I'm not mistaken, it was meant to be World Sport based out of the UK, and they had given out a massive list of names of people that were supposed to have already had signed, and I think it even include like Nia Jax.
Yeah, because I was trying to get tickets to go see it when it was here, and I had problems with it because they obviously shut it down at the time, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
They shut it down because half the wrestlers they advertised didn't even agree to go.
And if I recall,
that was the promotion Akam and Razor. Yeah, that was their promotion.
Sorry to change the subject, it's just because it's just so similar to AEW. That's why I was like, oh, was that what it was beforehand?
No, man.
Yeah.
No.
Remember, we don't get a lot over here, really, barring shit shows, but it's fine. All good.
Oh, Mr. WCW over here, I got to ask you, and then we'll go to Paul and the rest of the fine crew here. But Mo, as long as I've known you with your Retro Rewind and covering WCW and everything from that era, and especially seeing Chris Jericho and the crux and many coups of his career, your thoughts on him coming into AEW being one of the most pivotal signings as well to the company, because it's Y2J, it's the Ayatollah of rock and roller, it's the sexy beast, baby. What were your thoughts on Jericho, man?
Ew, never. But anyway, carry on.
Gotta love this arm bar, arm drag. Chris Jericho coming into AEW when the idea of it was AEW was going to be this mass bringing I don't want to say indie talent, but for lack of better terminology, indie talent. The guys from Japan that were going to be released, the people that we were dying to have show up on NXT, WWE, the Kenny Omegas, Adam Pages, the Young Bucks. Show them off to the world. So this is why I love professional wrestling. Let the world see it. It didn't happen. Now we have our own company. But Jericho is this, as I want to even say it, as the years have gone on, he has played an even bigger part than initially we thought he was going to be. We just thought maybe he was a name to help sell tickets. But the reality of the matter is without him being there, a lot of these young guys don't get that veteran experience. A lot of those young guys don't get that massive push in the first year when we had like the Orange Cassidys going up against Chris Jericho in the
Mimosa.
The Mimosa match. Thank you.
The Mimosa Mayhem, if I'm not mistaken.
Mimosa Mayhem, yep.
Whatever it was, it's again small, stupid things like that help bring guys over. But the reality is it didn't hurt anybody because you're in a program with Chris Jericho, a guy that went the distance in WCW, was one of their biggest stars that was never world champion, showed up in WWE, and his biggest accolade to this day is beating The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night, San Diego, by the way, where he walked away undisputed champion. And he had continuous programs where even though he was the aging star, he was still relevant. And then now we have him here, and it's as much as some would say it was a little too much or, oh, why is he here? Some would complain. It was the perfect move.
I think if you're going to get a TV deal and if you're going to showcase star power, who better than Chris Jericho to really be a part of that limelight there? And I think for me, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to ask y'all because this also transitions. Not only did we get Chris Jericho, but we got other people who are really no longer in AEW. I mean, in our first year, we had Jimmy Havoc, and then we saw how that went. We had Jimmy Havoc. Then we had Joey Janela, or if you ask a certain someone from Louisville, Kentucky, Joey Nutella. That goddamn son
get rid of bitch
fuckers. So with that being said, I'm gonna ask Rob on this one. So Joey Janela, the bad boy coming in, Jimmy Havoc, who again, allegations aside, hardcore, him and Abyss and TNA, ICW will be here all day. But what are your thoughts on even some of these people coming in?
My first time I've ever seen Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, and even Darby at this point was the Cracker Barrel match.
Oh God.
And that shit was nuts. I'm just like, where in the hell did these guys come from? This is fucking awesome. Like,
yes,
we definitely need more of this. I mean, Cracker Barrel aside, literal barrel. You know, this is fucking cool. I like this.
Wasn't Jimmy Havoc from here?
Yes.
Yep.
That's why I like him.
I think he's a mail carrier now.
Yep. Something like that.
Oh, crap.
Oh, boy.
Or a postal carrier, as some might call it.
Yeah.
Or we call it here a postman.
Postman.
There we go.
So let's all give a shout out.
He's working. That's all that matters.
That is very true.
Yeah. If all of us have to do a craft, doesn't matter what it is.
So Paul, I'll go to you next.
Somebody crosses him, he's going to body slam him or throw him through a table or stick him through a barrel.
Or shove tags up their ass.
The fucking package is here. Come get
it. Yeah.
Go on then. So
you know what? If he was my postman, I would terrorize him.
And not in that way either.
No,
it'd be more in an evil way.
Exactly. See,
2 hours to go. Just saying.
So tax in the butt, tax in the cooter. Paul Morales, your thoughts on Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, and Darby Allin coming in? We had this mixed bag of characters, and my God, some of the heart and soul and early starts of AEW.
I think if you look, I don't want to touch on Joey Janela because that's too much.
No,
I'll let DC hit on that one.
Okay.
Look, Darby.
I don't even know who he is.
Darby Allin was one of those guys that you kind of looked at and thought,
oh no,
he's no bigger than a Tic Tac.
No,
in size. So you look at him and you're like, well, what the hell is this guy gonna do? Is he gonna be like Spike Dudley and just come in and do all the hardcore stuff and get thrown out of the ring or get just jumping all over the place and running through stuff? Yes, that was what he did.
Kevin Nash Kevin Nash has entered the chat with Rey Mysterio.
No, but we look at Darby Allin, and a lot of us were just like, okay, this is cool. And you look at some of the clips of what he used to do, and running through cars, running off of cars and skateboarding off of freaking buildings. And I know that much we all know, but it's like
he tried to jump off Wembley Stadium, literally on a skateboard.
Damn crazy Darby.
Look, we didn't know what we were getting. We kind of knew what we were getting, but we didn't think that was what it was going to evolve into, continuing in AEW, but it's what continued to keep happening. So, we got such a crazy Spike Dudley-ish, type of character, and it was awesome. I was fucking thrilled.
The best way to describe it is, and this movie just turned 25 years old next Friday. Darby Allin is like the Roach of AEW. Man, I told you to stop doing the X Games shit off the counter. Pinky. Anyway, I digress. So we'll go to Daniel Griffiths next. Your thoughts on Darby Allin, and I know Paul's not going to touch on the bad boy, and Jimmy Havoc, all these people coming in. Your thoughts, hit me up, DC.
I thought it was honestly, I remember a time, and Mo, you can back me up. The old cruiserweight division in WCW, seeing just the array of talent that they had, people that you wouldn't normally see in WWE at the time. Nowadays, maybe different, but back then, like, would you ever see somebody like a Joey Janela in WWE like somebody like a Darby, like a Sammy Guevara, a Ricky Starks. No, you would see them in dark matches only, getting the hell beat out of them by Kane or Big Show. Which, truth be told, look up Ricky Starks versus Kane. It happened.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
It was high when they created that idea.
Now,
Seriously.
Mo, I gotta say this to
Kane's
you.
a legend.
Darby Allin coming on in, all these influx of stars. Hit me, Mo, because you got to see a lot of these great talents in your own right as well, sir.
So Darby, I knew a little bit about because of the stuff that he did with Swerve in Seattle. So we got to learn a little bit about Darby. Jimmy Havoc, I knew of mainly through TNA, and Joey Janela again being a part. The TSK will all branches. The what is it? The during WrestleMania weekend where everybody's got a damn show on Fight TV. We were trying to watch everything, and one of the more popular shows you would want to watch is Joey Janela Spring Break. We had an idea of what we were getting. I think the reality was we were trying to see, are we going to get that lunatic that we're so used to, the guy that would light his fucking leg on fire and kick you with it, which we then would see in AEW anyway. But to me at least, it felt like, okay, this is an opportunity to push the boundaries. Are you really going to push the boundaries, or are you bringing these guys in to tame it down? And we found out that was not what they were going to do.
Not at all.
No.
I will say this. When it comes to Darby Allin, and I'll make Robert and Nico laugh because we touched upon this on the last Deep Inside the Heart of Wrestling. Darby Allin at the time was married to Priscilla Kelly, who at that time did that goddamn tampon spot. That's still
no, thank you very much.
It's not funny. Nope.
Being the only female around the world.
No. God, it was horrible. So that.
But then again, it's Darby. He does sick shit like this.
Yes,
she's in. Where is she, Mike? Right now?
Oh, she's Gigi Dolan, NXT.
Gigi Dolan in NXT. Yeah.
I like you now, Priscilla.
And she was married to Darby, weren't she? And then they got divorced, and then he said something in an interview that he was going to go and do something naughty to her. And I was like, that sounds like what I'd do, but not to her.
Well, that's the thing now. That she kind of in a way upgraded, man. She went from Darby Allin, now she's with Zachary Wentz, who's in TNA, one of the Rascals, little rascal.
I think that's when Darby jumped over his house in his Jeep.
Yes, that was
after they got divorced.
Oh,
sure.
He did. I've seen him do some
I should
crazy fucking stunts.
I should
have fucking eating. Like some of the stuff I saw him do was like eating his own sick or making someone else eat something like fish eyes and a mixture of cocktail and all this shit. And he sets fire to someone and laughs his head off. I was like, "You're my guy."
Their big ass pool of Fruit Loops that he was eating out of, and then like 2 days later he went back in and started eating. I was just like, darn.
No.
Also, what's the other one he did? He did the helicopter where he dived out of a helicopter on a skateboard and fell to the floor.
He let Brody King chop him.
Yep.
When they were in Wembley,
for
he
fun.
was on top of the fucking stadium with a skateboard.
He let him do it for fun.
Down.
Just because.
This is why I like him. He's insane.
I will say this.
He did an indie show where he had asked Walter, aka Gunter, to chop him as hard as he possibly could. Why the hell would you do that?
I mean, if you're gonna go big, that's probably the biggest you can go.
I used to compare him to Jeff Hardy a little bit, like the younger version, because some of the stuff he did.
10 times more chaotic and psychotic.
Yes.
Jesus, I'm surprised he's not. We keep saying, don't we, that he's not going to be alive by the time he's 40 because he just keeps fucking breaking himself.
Well, this is Jeff Hardy, who recently on
TNA. I don't know. He's climbing Mount Everest now, so
yeah, we're going to see him off for a couple months.
Unless he breaks his foot again, like he did last time.
Hey Jay White, I need you to do something for me again.
I break my foot, so I can't climb it.
I will say this. I mean, we talk
break
about
Darby's foot again.
To go to your point, I look at it like this, y'all. Like we're talking about how he was a younger Jeff Hardy. I mean, we still got Jeff Hardy, who's 48, who just did a swanton off the balcony at friggin' the last TNA show, and he's 48.
That's what I mean. That's why I compare him, because he's fucking insane, and so is Darby. Also, I've actually got a Darby t-shirt over there somewhere in the corner.
He
when he was
dedicated
champ.
it to Darby.
Yeah. The best thing
Yeah,
I
he
can say
did.
about that, guys, is hi, I'm Darby Allin. Welcome to Jackass. So we move on to
Yeah.
to
You
everything.
know what? I actually knew. I watched Darby before wrestling. He was on another show. Yeah, he used to be on. What was it fucking called? It was some stunt thing where he was constantly
A
doing.
reality show?
Yeah, there was that. But there was also this other one where they would watch like Ridiculous, I think it was called.
Ridiculousness.
Yeah, that. And he was on there a few times showing off his skateboarding skills or whatever.
He also
So
appeared
I've heard of him.
Sent Me to the ER.
Hey.
Yeah, that as well. So I did actually know about him beforehand, but I didn't really class him as a wrestler. I was just more of a. He was like a stunt double thing, or he's just some dodgy stunt guy.
Yeah. So I will say this, y'all. So we go from all these crazy cool cats and not kittens, Carol Baskin. I look at it like this, y'all. We go from
that bitch, Carol.
Fuck that bitch. Now I look at it like this.
Bitch.
Sammy
He killed her husband.
I hate that bitch.
Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara and Orange Cassidy come on in. We talk about the great guys like that really getting their upstart here, and we'll get to Sammy when we get to the Inner Circle. But y'all, we have ourselves a pay-per-view here, the first ever inaugural pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. Now, we mentioned Jericho and Omega, that feud based off Wrestle Kingdom, coming into fruition here in AEW, but also one of the matches that really stole the show. And mind you, we got the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros at the time, Pentagon and Phoenix. Great tag team, really building up that division. We have Private Party and so many coming to fruition, and we'll get to that. But good God almighty, I would be remiss if we didn't mention, I don't need a friend. I don't need a tag team partner. I need my brother. Cody Rhodes and Dustin finally getting that, the bloodbath that it was, old school.
I watched that today. How scary is that? I literally watched that match 3 hours ago.
Nice.
Love it.
Not even kidding. Not even kidding.
All right. Well, Nico, we'll start the
Still makes me.
We'll start the conversation with you, Eager Beaver. Cody and Dustin, man. You got to see the brothers have that exchange. Go ahead, Nico. Talk about it. Preach on it.
You could tell, even at the beginning of the match, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were like, right, this is what's going to happen. But it was just brutal. Dustin's head opening. Fuck me, that was mad. All of it. The whole freaking spot, and the fact that at the end they both hugged and cried. That was just a bit. It was cool to see the brothers just literally go at each other, because maybe it'd been something they always wanted to do. And it is known in wrestling for brothers to actually go at each other. So yeah. There was loads. Yeah, go on.
You know, the fact
he was like, Dad loves me more. Dad loves me more. Dad loves me more. Dad loves me more.
I think
it was just the amount of blood on his head, though. That's what got me the most. I was like, oh, blood, but fuck me, wow.
Well, that's the thing, too.
Just wow.
You look at the time period in 2015 where we got that Goldust and Stardust match at Fastlane, and they wanted to do a match at WrestleMania, but Vince didn't think it had any equity or anything would come from it. But I'm like, you could have put that at WrestleMania. Bitch. Yes, but we finally got this resurgence of it, Cody and Dustin. And Mo, I'm going to go to you on this one as well to get to see that match, the bloodbath, the storytelling, really old school wrestling, if you will. And then, Paul, I'll kick it over to you, Mr. RWT Dead Man. Hit me, Mo. What were your thoughts?
Old school wrestling, 100%. We all know their father, their very famous Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. The guy would almost as bad as Ric Flair. He'd walk and bleed at the same time, but that was his thing. It was the over the top theatrics. You know, the match has to mean something. Getting color meant something, and the brother clash, yes, as I guess mundane as it may be in the wrestling world, because it happens each and every other week for all we know. It mattered here because it was one. It had the superstar, if you will, the guy that was always around, the one that even transcended 3 different generations. Was even wrestling back in the old NWA before it was WCW. And then you have the other one who carved his own path, who went from being a sidekick to going through TNA to whatever dumb change it was to New Japan to here. And it was impactful. It was meaningful. It was probably one of the best matches that AEW could have had to start out. And I don't know many men that weren't at least shedding a tear or two after it was over. So it had the desired effect.
I did that earlier. Every time I watch it, same effect.
We watched that together, and when Cody cut that promo after the match, like everybody muted their mic because I'm pretty sure all of us were bawling like a bunch of bitches.
Bitches. Paul, hit me, man. Your thoughts? You're an old school cat with this too, as well, man. Cody and Dustin, hit me, Paul Morales.
I remember some of the first matches that Dusty had with Ric Flair, where they were just steel cage matches, where they were just bleeding profusely in the damn ring. I mean, and it looked like they had puddles. I mean, forget that they were cutting each other open. And this was not, hey, I'm gonna have a razor somewhere. No, it was the chain links and the damn freaking in the cage that was busting them open. Little pieces of little jagged pieces that were on there that were busting them open. So watching this match just took me back to what him and Flair did. You know, it was just bloodbath. You know, Ric Flair's blonde hair beat red. Dusty's hair beat red. You know, his whole face, his whole chest, everything that Dustin and Cody did, it was just a throwback to that NWA day, you know, and even WCCW, if you really want to do that one.
Very nice.
You know, those days were just awesome, and I loved the promos leading up to that. You know, were great. You know, you watch every single promo that Cody did, every promo that Dustin did. That match told a story. They shed blood. They hugged it out afterwards. They cut a promo, and that was it. But and like you said, ain't nobody was that wasn't out there that didn't cry over this, that didn't shed tears over this.
I mean,
bitch.
And Dan, you always say it best, man. Every time I've discussed this with you, evoking emotions, eliciting reactions, making people feel. That's what professional wrestling is about. All of us can
exactly. That's what good. That's what good professional wrestling is. You know, and you know, I do think, and I'll say this, Mike, you and I have talked. The use of blood in professional wrestling, other than like deathmatch,
is awesome.
It is awesome, but it's also overplayed.
Right.
Like you look at matches like this, you know, when you're bleeding like that, like as they would say, as Jared would say, he's bleeding like a stuck pig.
Mm-hmm.
Squeal, piggy, squeal. I mean, the what?
Like, look at.
Sorry.
Look at. To me, this reminded me of Rock versus Mankind at Royal Rumble 2000, or no, was it 99? I think
99.
Where they're just bleeding and you can't even see their face, but it told a story where both guys wanted to kill each other, but at the same time they just wanted to win.
Right. And I mean,
this was one for blood and gore.
Yes, he was.
You could even quick mention to Eddie Guerrero and JBL when Eddie cut himself open, and he cut too damn deep, and he ended up like that. As soon as his heart was beating, you just see that thing squirting out, and it was just bad. How that man survived that was beyond fucking me.
Well, that's the thing. We always talk about red makes green, and I mean, and as far as color goes, this was the perfect match to do it, and it told its story. It's really served its purpose. And I mean, when you think of stuff that really serves its purpose, I mean, not only did we get people like we mentioned come in, we got Proud and Powerful, we got Santana Ortiz coming in. We didn't know where they were coming from. TNA, were they going to go with WWE? Were they go to AEW? They chose AEW. We mentioned the Lucha Brothers. We mentioned Private Party. But one thing I do have to mention is very important on this show, the debut of Jonathan Moxley. Oh my goodness gracious, coming out from the WWE. We had the Shield reunion. That was it for John. I gotta ask y'all, John Moxley, he's in the place. Wild Thing, you make my heart sing. Your thoughts on John Moxley coming on into AEW? And Roberto, I'll start with you. It may.
You know what? I took an extended hiatus from watching wrestling for a while. I started watching again around 2016, and you know, I was enamored by these guys. 3 of them specifically were Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. So I wanted to know more. So I started looking into their history. And then I, you know, got to Ambrose, and, you know, I found he was John Moxley. So I started looking at some of the stuff he was doing. I found out about the Titty Master, and you know, that glorious period. You know, so as the years had gone on, I'm just like, why do you got this motherfucker talking to plants when he can, do all this other cool shit? Like, what the fuck? What are you doing? So it was always my hope in the back of my mind that he would leave WWE, and lo and behold, I got my wish. And when he appeared through that crowd at the end of Double for Nothing, I lost my shit because I knew what we were getting. I don't think anybody really understood the magnitude of what was about to happen, but I did, and I was here for it. I'm still here for it. So,
and that man does bleed a lot.
Anybody doesn't like it,
He's bleeding now.
He is
right now.
He's good at bleeding, especially when he gets caught on camera doing it. Donut.
The thing to go off your guys' point is, you look at John around this time too. I mean, he didn't want to go. We saw in StarCast, he's like, I can't believe they're making me walk away from all this money. Can we not do something stupid? Put needles in my side. Like, it's one of those things, and wearing gas masks. But I look at it from a stance like this: when you're the creative that you have for this gentleman is, we're possibly going to do an intergender match with Nia Jax, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I'm saying? It's mind-boggling that we have to do it around this stuff. But I mean, he made the right decision. He got to elevate himself more and really branch back out into the indies, do his work in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I think stuff like that really reinvigorates and revigorates people. And that's, again, the beauty of professional wrestling. So we go from Mox. We go from Jericho winning the AEW World's Heavyweight Championship at All In. And we're going towards a TV deal, something that we have not seen since WCW. We're talking about TNT. We're talking about TBS. So I got to start with Dan on this. Your thoughts of Dynamite coming to TNT, something that we would have never seen, man. 19 years later, boom, we got ourselves a TV deal for AEW. Chris Jericho at the helm with that World's Heavyweight Championship. Go.
The argument for whether Jericho was the right person to be the first champion, you can have that discussion until you're blue in the face. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Who knows? But at the end of the day, like, I thought it was cool that they were getting, a TV deal. But then I remember hearing TNT. I thought, really? Like, of all companies, like, you want to go to TNT? Remember what happened to the last company that was there? But, I thought it was good. It was always good to celebrate, a new company, especially with a little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the
bubbly. And the list.
And the list, yes. Now, Mo, again, we mentioned WCW a lot, but this network, my goodness gracious, TNT, again, another professional wrestling company coming in. It's thriving. We're seeing a lot more of the boom here on the up and up with professional wrestling. Talk about your thoughts on this deal, man, because this was very huge.
Again, I felt it was like the perfect move. What a better way to counter WWE than to use the network that had originally beat them during the Monday Night Wars, 83 weeks. Yeah, shout out to Eric Bischoff, but that's all he gets. But the reality is it was a perfect spot. You couldn't have put it on something different. You couldn't have gone to an ESPN, to a Spike TV or whatever, the Paramount Network.
Destination America.
What?
Gone to any of these places and garnered anything, they would have drowned. It would have been another instance of TNA. You have a niche audience who can get this niche channel, and that's all you get. Instead, you went with the name that is reliable, the name that's always on TV. Yes, it has deals with the NBA and the NHL and hell, even baseball. So why not throw wrestling back into the mix? And yes, due to even with a few changes, it has seemed to work out awesomely. And at the same time, yeah, you can use that lineage of, WCW did well here and play it against them. And for a while, hell, it even allowed Sting to come back, for crying out loud.
Grandpa Sting.
Sting!
Paul, then we'll shoot over to you next, my dude. Talk about TNT, your thoughts. TV deal. What whoop?
At the time, TNT was actually looking to expand, to bring in more live production, live products to put on their channels. It wasn't just that one, they wanted to put something on TBS too, which would later happen with Rampage. And, it was just something that they wanted for themselves to counter what WWE was doing over on the USA Network. But at the same time, like Mo said, they had the NBA, they had MLB, they had NHL. They brought in different shows that they wanted to produce, and have on their stations across it. They also had the NCAA tournament for college basketball.
Yep.
So they had that too. So for them, just putting this on there every week, knowing that they were going to have live entertainment, was just perfect for them. It was a perfect marriage for them. The fact that they ended up getting this thing redone again to where now they're on Max every week and everybody gets to see it live, just goes to show, that they're thirsting for it. They see that there's value in it. Whether it continues is a whole nother story, but right now they want it, they got it. That's all that matters. They're being shown.
Roberto Davis hit me, man. Like I said, there's a lot of us that are really passionate about it, especially with AEW and getting on the deal, man, with TNT. Your thoughts, man, as someone as well who's checked out WCW at the wrestling and where we are now, 19 years later with the wrestling at this time period. Hit me.
Absolutely, because one of the things that sticks out in my mind from my childhood is that specific time frame that WCW Saturday Night came on, 6:05 Eastern. You hear wrestling going back to that, it's like, hell yeah, we're getting wrestling back. I don't care what day it's on, as long as it's at 6:05 Eastern. After a Cubs game, let's fucking go.
Or a Braves game.
Just the fact that we had it again. It was exciting. It kind of for those of us that are a little bit older and getting older, it kind of reinstilled that nostalgia of feeling yeah, like a kid again, It kind of took you back to it, and that was nice, and it's still nice.
I you know what? I really would have liked it had they actually started stuff at like 5 minutes after the hour.
Yes, dude.
Just to kind of do that whole throwback to what WCW or NWA used to do. Those WCW Saturday nights. That would have been cool. That would have been very cool for them to do.
A nice little niche detail that anybody over 35 might know.
Yeah,
old kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm well over.
Right after a basketball game, or right after a baseball game, or right after a hockey game, or before
Wednesday night, AEW Dynamite at 5:05 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been cool.
Now, speaking of cool, and we touched upon so many people on the comeback. We mentioned the Dark Orders, the tag teams, the private parties, the Sammy Guevara's, and so many talents. As Cody and Sammy was the opening of that show, and it concluded with Chris Jericho and Pride and Powerful against the Young Bucks and whatnot. But what I really love about this particular time period as well, people really get to show up and show out. People get to really exude and accentuate what they're about. And it's an introduction. Introduction is so key to really putting yourself out there and what we really get to expect from your product. I mean, you look at today's generation now, from the 2010s and the Gen Alphas, or even before that with the Gen Zs. This is the crux of talent that they're going to tell their kids about. So it's generational when it comes to professional wrestling. I think that's wonderful and so keen to everything that we get to see around us, my friends. But also, we got to see a great main event with Full Gear. And I have to put this over because we see it in so many highlight reels. We see it in so many moments and memories from AEW, but went from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. You stupid prick. Cody Rhodes said, fuck you, Chris Jericho. Those promos, that feud, I got to ask y'all about this, and I'm going to start with you, Chris Jericho and Cody. Oh, my goodness, that particular feud, and the turn of MJF. MJF kicked him right in the sackaroonie, right in the dick. Oh, my goodness, Mo, hit me. Come on, man.
Well, again, those who were watching each and every week, you saw MJF as the guy that was quite literally carrying Cody's jockstrap. You know what I mean? Anything he could do to get some TV time or get closer to Cody, whatever, he was doing it. And that's what we thought. We never thought this kid would turn. But those who know of the MJF history from the MLW days, you knew he's a prick. He's going to do what he's got to do to get himself over the top. And to try to tie into this whole thing, this was around the time where Cody was saying that if he doesn't win the world title, he's not going after it again, kind of shoelacing himself, tying himself down, where everybody felt that this was the reason why he wanted to leave and go back to WWE, because I can't be a world champion in AEW. It worked in the story, and the reality was it was something that garnered a lot of attention something that Cody needed to do. And it, unfortunately, it went in a way where in the long run, it came out positive for both sides. At the time being, maybe it was a little bit indifferent, but again, we're 6 years later, and it has done nothing but worked out perfectly.
Beautifully said, Moses Marquez. And I will go to you next, Roberto Davis. Talk about Cody, MJF getting kicking him in the dick. He's gone. Chris Jericho.
Gone.
Oh, he's
gone.
Gone. He is gone. All right, we'll come back to Roberto. My fault. So, Daniel, I'm talking about he's back. Okay, Robert, talk about MJF kicking Cody in the dick.
The beauty of wireless headphones
And the Jericho Cody match feud. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. I had to go see what was going on the other side of the mansion.
Sir.
But this mansion.
Nice.
I know this was interesting because this is where Cody said if he didn't win, he wasn't gonna go after the world title. And it was just kind of like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
The Bible says.
Yeah, that was just kind of I remember talking about this amongst the group, and we were just like, this isn't going to go well, is it? And lo and behold, we were all right. But like Mo did say, that it worked out in the long run. To see Cody as AEW World Champ, personally, I thought that would have been kind of cool because that was before we all hated him.
Hey. I don't want to know. I don't want to personally use the words hated. He was the John Cena of AEW. Yeah. He booked himself in such a way where, yes, he's a face, but you gotta hate him because it felt like the Super Cena. There's no way he's gonna lose.
It did, and I know there was a lot of criticism because he was an EVP at the time. Oh, you're just booking yourself to this, blah blah blah. You're Jeff Jarretting yourself, all this and the whatnot, and it's just like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So him not winning the world titles, while personally I was just kind of like, bro, that's kind of fucked up, but I get it. You were kind of backed into a corner. You back against the wall. What are you gonna do? As far as MJF goes, having watched MLW and with the dynasty and things like that, I kind of knew what MJF was about to kind of see him on this platform and do his MJF-ery, wasn't surprised, but yeah, MJ, yeah. It was good. It was good. And I was excited for MJF to be able to be seen on this platform, but at the same time, it was just like, oh, you dirty bastard.
I mean, as a New Yorker on this, as well as Daniel Crimmins here, I mean, seeing the dude come from Creative Pro, being trained by Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins from
Kurt Hawkins,
and really getting to see that class that he came from. Also, Bear Bronson as a part of the Iron Savages. We also got to see a great talent from the Northeast come in. And I mean, dude has such a mind. He's an old school mind. One of his early influences was Roddy Piper. I'm talking about hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert. So the man has a knowledge and a sponge to absorb everything and take it in. So, I mean, for you guys, and I'm going to also add this point to it as well. You see the rise of MJF. You see the rise in this, but I have to ask you all, because we're all in agreement. This was the upstart. This was 2019. This was something new, a breath of fresh air, so to speak, within the professional wrestling realm. So I'm going to go around as our final thing I have to ask, and I saved it for last because we do the voice, we do the imitation. What were your initial thoughts of, Tony
I'll pay you.
I'll pay you. Give me a hug, everybody. I love you, Barney. So, Nicola, I will say this to you first, just because you have such a way with words and your abrasiveness.
And we love the accent. Here we go again. The beautiful accent. That's why. That's all it is.
My accent.
Michael's just flirting with you, even though he knows that you're taken. He just loves your accent. That's all it is.
Have you told anybody to suck your dick this whole show?
No, because I showed respect and love. But suck my fucking dick. There you go.
So
one
there, baby. Put the counter. Nicola, thoughts on Tony Khan? And I know where this is going, so go ahead.
So I knew about Tony Khan before wrestling because obviously I live in the UK and he has a football team called Fulham, which by the way, Tony Khan, it sucks. Your team sucks. Get a new team, get a new brain, fuck right off. Mo will agree with me on that one. 100%.
100%.
Thank you very much, my love.
Here, I'll double that. 1,000%.
There we go.
American football team ain't doing too hot either, bud.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Look, and it transcended to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But anyways, continue.
Go ahead.
Continue.
All right, okay. The whole I'll pay. He is a 40-year-old virgin. That is what he is. He's a pain in the ass. A 40-year-old virgin who needs to get fucking laid. That's what he needs to do.
Oh, Lord.
And he can also suck my dick. There we go. Two.
You know, good.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, you ever felt a breast and it feels like a bag of sand? Bag of sand. Moses Marquez,
You know what? I was about to do the stupidest thing ever and actually go, what?
Be like David Caruso in Jade. Now, Moses Marquez.
What the hell?
All right, well, I'm done. All right, well, I'm out here. Bye.
Oh, Mo, you gotta give your thoughts on Tony Khan. Go ahead. I know you can.
And you said I was going to be the one that was bad.
Hey, man. Hey. Go ahead.
I'm sure it'll get worse as we keep going. So for me, Tony Khan, I had to start doing the research, as I always do. Once you figure out somebody, you got to look into them. But my initial thoughts was, it can't be worse than Ted Turner.
True.
And of course, I was Ted Turner's the guy that owned WCW. He's another billionaire who just wanted wrestling for the sake of competing with Vince McMahon.
Another out of
touch. And he just wanted to pay everybody who came in and just said, you know what? Hell, I'll pay you. I'll pay you.
I'll pay you. I'll pay you.
Pretty much like Tony Khan, he was just, I'll give you the money. Same thing he did with Hulk Hogan, with the Outsiders.
Fuck that dude.
Everybody who came into WCW, that's all he wanted.
Yes.
Okay.
I hate Hulk Hogan.
Sorry, Mo. Sorry that I interrupted you. My apologies.
Hulk Hogan.
It was DC's fault.
It's all Dan's fault.
I interrupt all the time. They get used to it.
But that's what the reality was, is we thought, okay, well, it's a billionaire who's going to bring in all the stars. We're going to have dream match after dream match after dream match. But slowly going back and realizing that, hold on, wait a minute, he knows nothing of the wrestling business. He's simply a fan. So that's like hiring the TSK to book Dynamite each and every week. Except we're not billionaires.
Yeah, but you would do a hell of a lot better job than Tony Khan.
Yeah.
But the reality of the matter is, and to be true, to be completely honest, maybe we would and maybe we wouldn't, because at the end of the day, we're still fans. And fans can only do so much with their imagination. We don't have the bank account he does. Maybe if it was us running it and his bank account would be a different story. But we're talking about him. And after realizing,
we're also not a bunch of 40-year-old virgins.
There you go. That's okay. It's all right. I'll take it as long as I have my own wrestling company. But the point I was driving at is, I always wanted to see how he does business. How does he really do business? And as Nicola pointed out, yes, he owns a club, Fulham FC. Right now, they're good. Right now,
no, they're not.
They're on. As far as the standings, they're fine. But the reality is if you look and see how he's taking care of this club, the amount of money he puts into it is not what you would think. He's not really trying to run the club like a Premier League club should be ran. So if he's not going to do that with a club that's at the top in the best league in the world, is he really going to do the same thing with a wrestling company? And for a little bit, yes, he was. He was willing to bring in anybody and everybody that was garnering attention, that it could be a big enough name, but then that became the MO. Let's bring in everybody that garners a name. Let's bring in the Tony Storms. And then right after Tony Storm, we'd bring in Athena. And then right after we bring in Athena, we'll bring in Deonna Purrazzo. And then we bring in this person, then this person, then this person, then this person. And then before you know it, we have people like Thunder Rosa, who was a pillar in this company, doing commentary. We have guys like Matt Menard, who was in a decent faction, who was in an all right tag team, who actually, believe it or not, got over to some people in the TSK, is doing commentary because of over fluctuation and oversaturation of superstars. Rather than getting the best that fit your company, you got anybody that would come to work for you. So the good old fashioned saying,
that sounded like a whole lot of rant because that was spot on. Fucking Moses, damn it.
It's the truth.
We're gonna clap it up for Mo. Just because.
Tell him when he's telling lies.
Oh, there it is. You got it. There you
God
go.
damn it.
So
I'll go last. I'll go last, but DC, go for it.
All right, Dan.
You know, I'm gonna go back on, and kind of continue what Mo said. Mo, you've hit the nail on the head. And Tony Khan, I thought, oh well, fresh set of eyes couldn't be a bad thing. And like you said, Mo, initially he was fresh set of eyes, but now he's beginning to that point where you cannot tell him otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
He's like well, I know what I'm doing. The problem is he's looked at all this adulation from the IWC and thinking like, oh my God, it's that classic Homer Simpson line. Everybody is dumb but me.
Mm-hmm. Perfectly put.
The problem is, eventually, in the long run, it is going to bite him in the ass. Talent are going to start less. For example, let's look at Penta. Everyone thought, oh, well, he's just going to resign. He's going to be happy to be here. No. You have other people that he thought, like Julia. Oh, well, she's a shoe, and, everybody signs with me.
Stephanie Vicor.
And honestly, if it wasn't for the Wembley show last year, Stephanie Vicor would probably be signed with AEW right now.
That's true.
No. She probably still would have got an NXT deal. She's that big. You have a good point, but the reality is like now they're not as attractive as they once were.
No,
they're not the company that was. Oh, it's the land of opportunity. I can go there, wrestle my style, and still get over. I can make the millions. I can be the WWE superstar without being in WWE, except you can't, because there is 25 people in this one division, and you don't scratch the top 5 that have been the top 5 for 2-3 years.
But they'll pay me.
Rush and Jurlisico were trying to get Stephanie's ex-boyfriend who beat the crap out of her out of jail. She was never coming to AEW.
That too. Mm-hmm. And also the fact, I think she always wanted to go to WWE. I mean, she did a tryout for Chile, so I mean, that also influx there. And I will go after Paul just because I cannot wait to hear what Paul has to say. But Roberto, I'll go to you next because we heard from Nicola and we heard about the 40-year-old virgin. We heard from Moses Marquez and his overall eloquent speech about how everything is, and I will follow that as well. But Robert Davis, we all got
Kelly Clarkson.
Thank you. We have all of these intelligent and great minds and very unique minds. And your mind, Robert Davis, is one we have to hear from now. So give us our thoughts, man.
My first impression of Tony Khan was like, okay, great. We have somebody who's a fan, somebody who understands the fan base, somebody who understands what fans want. This man has a bachelor's degree in finance, so he knows how to balance money. Cool. So as time goes on, things are great. 2019, fantastic year for AEW. 2020, we get hit with the world fucking falling apart. Mm-hmm. Pandemic AEW was great. I know a lot of people were kind of about it, but if you really look at what we got with what we had, it was pretty solid.
Guys were getting over just being in the crowd.
Exactly. I mean, from that, we probably wouldn't have got the Guns. We wouldn't have got Hikaru Shida, Hobbs, Willow Nightingale. That really helped a lot of people. Pineapple Pete, was a solid name for a while during that pandemic era.
We wouldn't have gotten Sting and Darby Allin sitting up in the balcony.
Powerhouse.
We wouldn't have got Wardlow either.
Yeah, that too.
Wasn't he with MJF at the time as his little bodyguard?
Yeah,
I remember rightly.
This period of time, helped propel a lot of what's going on now. Are things well right now in AEW? No. Does Tony need a haircut? Absolutely.
Yes.
I really
Does he need to get laid? Yes.
Probably. This. I don't have a lot of issues with Tony personally. I mean, one, because I don't know him. Two,
you wouldn't want to.
I understand, probably not. I also like that he plays into the whole snowman thing. This, I don't know where this whole thing about Tony being on coke came from, but he's going along. Good sport, that's cool. We're going to keep doing it because it's funny.
Yes, it is.
And
Frosty the Snowman.
as long as he's going along with it. But I think there's this, in his mind at least, there's this omission of failure if he was to lose the booking aspect of AEW. It's not that you can't do it, because we've seen that you can do it. 2019 and 2020 proved that you can. But it's gotten to the point where your company's getting bigger. You, as the CEO, need to go focus on other shit. Find somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, not Bully Ray. I don't care.
Fuck that dickhead.
Hey,
Have Gato help you. Have somebody who knows how to book a fucking show help you. Get rid of some of the help you got now, because some of them are not helping.
Add more.
That's my pick.
All
That's who I would have take over the booking.
Make a deal with Billy Corgan.
He can do something.
No.
He's got the money, but there's, I think, this omission of failure in his mind, that if he were to give up the booking, that he failed, when that's not the case. Your company's fucking growing, bud. You need to focus on other shit.
Mhm.
That's what you pay all these people for. Have them help you. You don't have to do everything. That's business 101. But I'm excited to see if we can get that momentum that AEW had back in 2019, 2020. Those are, probably some of the best years so far. Let's try to get back there.
So I will go to Dan next.
No, Michael. I said I'm going last. Fuck you. I'm going last because
all right, Dan.
I'm pretty much gonna sum up everything because you got me fucking hot and I'm already going. So go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Dan. Fine. All right.
I love it.
Who am I bitching about again?
Tony Khan.
Dan's not high.
40-year-old virgin.
Yes.
I was thinking about this after we recorded last night, Mike. And I pray to God it never happens, but if AEW were to ever fail, it would not be the talent's fault. It would not be the agent's fault. If AEW were to fail, it would be the fault of one person only, Tony Khan. Because it's this mindset, and it's not, you see it, in your workplaces, in your lives. Everybody knows that one person who refuses to ask for help because they think that if I ask for help, I'm weak. Tony Khan needs help. You are surrounded by some of the greatest minds in professional wrestling. You've got Jeff Jarrett, somebody that has been doing this for over 40 years.
Yeah.
You have Bryan Danielson. You have Mox. You have Christopher Daniels. You have such amazing people. And it's that cat. It's a dog that's sitting at the table that's on fire. This is fine.
This is fine.
That's my kind of day.
If AEW fails, it's going to be Tony's fault, and you all know it.
So I'll go, and then Paul.
I don't think anybody else here is denying it.
No, and then Paul is very adamant about going last, so I'll go next. So I look at it from a stance too. People have compared Tony Khan to Dixie Carter. Dixie Carter, honey, was sarsaparilla.
Oh, fuck her.
Hey,
Screw her too.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, come see my company.
You know what? The only reason I like Bully Ray is for putting her through a table. That is the only reason.
All right. Good job, Billy.
Now, I look at it from a stance like this. Guys, like when it comes to Tony Khan, he's so absorbed now. He's become what he hates. Tony McMahon. He's hard. His version of, because Vince McMahon was, I tell them what they like. He is now like, you know what? I like this. I'm going to put this out here. Too many dream matches, and I'm going to say this, and I love Minoru Suzuki, but Adam Cope versus Minoru Suzuki is not a dream match. He only caters to the niche audience. He doesn't want to expand out from that. And here we are. There's a lot of stop-start with the storylines, some stuff that really doesn't make sense, but we just do it on a whim anyway. He has so many different things where he needs help. He wants to book Ring of Honor. He wants to book AEW. There's so many hours in a day, and he's got everything going on. It's just a point of fact that he just is only booking for himself and booking for the sickos. That's his thing. When, again, we always joke about the sickos, but if you're only...
I'm a sicko.
But if you're only going to cater to the sickos and not worry about the masses, That's the problem right there. You're pretty much saying, hey, if you don't know who, it's like Talladega Nights and Ricky Bobby. Hi, I'm Ricky Bobby. If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you. That's the problem. Right. If you don't know this certain superstar, that superstar, it's fuck you. It's like, oh, well, you must not know about this. No, I don't know. And I'm sorry to say this. And I like Yuji Nagata, but nobody's going to give a fuck about Jon Moxley versus Yuji Nagata because nobody knows who the fuck Yuji Nagata is. Like,
hey. Mo and I know. We used to watch WCW.
I know, but the point is, I'm talking
Yuji
about.
Nagata's been around.
I don't know who he is.
All right.
Blue Justice, baby.
All right. The point being
Put some respect on that man's name.
I like Yuji Nagata. I'm just saying now. Anyway, Mercedes Moné talking about the Rev title, and it's crickets. Nobody knows what the fuck Rev Pro is. You have to educate people better. Not Chris Jericho and Atlantis Jr. Well, him and his father when he was Cortizone de Leon and they fought back in 1995. Like, I don't give a shit. All right, do expand weeks, vignettes. He doesn't do that. It's just like, here it is, and I'm supposed to blow my load. No. I'm not ready to blow my load. That's the problem. It's premature ejaculation. It's hugs. He tiptoes through the tulips. Tony Khan tiptoes through the tulips. Let's put it to that.
No one is a virgin.
He's Jim from American Pie.
Well, he's high on cocaine.
Perfect. I like that Jim from American Pie. We can make so many iterations of him. But Tony Khan, you need help. You don't need to fear for your life. Handle your business. Stop being a pussy. Paul Morales, hit me.
You goddamn son of a bitch.
multiple times I've said it on our show multiple times that this man needs fucking help.
Yep.
This man does not want help, even though he needs fucking help. Dude has 200 fucking years of 200 plus years of experience on his roster of everybody from Dustin Rhodes to Chris Jericho to Frankie Kazarian to not Frankie Kazarian. But let's just say he has 200 plus years of experience of wrestling knowledge that are on his roster of the older generation that are there, just itself, and he does not want their fucking help. Why? I have no fucking clue. It makes no fucking sense. You have this much experience that could help you booking. He needs somebody to go over to ROH and let them run that. Instead of him focusing on this, on that, on every fucking aspect. You are not Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon bled WWE. Was it great? No. Was it always fucking great? No. But we got our moments. We got good moments, and those were fine. Yes. Are you going to continue to do that in AEW? Yeah, you may get, spots here, spots there, run it for the sickos, and you may have a great roster of talent, but you have too much fucking talent that you're not doing enough with. You have these matches for whatever fucking reason, and then all of a sudden it's like you have no follow-up to it. And then all of a sudden it's like you have no idea why this person is over on fucking Collision wrestling fucking God knows who for whatever fucking reason when he was just in the World Championship match not fucking 3 weeks earlier. And it makes no fucking sense. You had a fucking rating system at one point in time that was supposed to tell people, hey, guess what? These people have wins and losses. Remember when wins and losses fucking mattered? Now, all of a sudden, it's like it disappeared and now it doesn't matter anymore.
The ranking system.
It's the continuation of a fuck up it's the downfall that we are seeing. It's the Vince McMahon, not the other bullshit outside of WWE, but the downfall of 2018, 2019, 2020 and up until he left.
Right.
It was just the bullshit that after bullshit that we get. Is it entertaining? Yes. We are not talking about the talent not being talented. We're just talking about it being not booked properly. Okay. I don't want to see fucking Adam Copeland versus somebody from New Japan for whatever godforsaken reason you believe that is a dream match. No, it's not.
Adam Copeland.
Put your young talent first. That should be the focal point of everything. Put your young talent first. I'm done ranting.
If I could just make a quick follow-up to
Are you coping?
Are you coping?
I just say nope to cope.
Boy.
That was his shit last night. He kept saying, "Just say note to Cope."
Oh, good, Dan.
You know,
Do you
Tony
reckon?
is trying so much to be the WWE, like to the point where if this had been the Vince from 25, 30 years ago, Vince would have smoked Tony Khan.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
He
Just
would
like that.
Vince was essentially for years he was Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, except for Thanos died. He didn't.
In fact, you know how much money Vince paid for WCW? $1 million cash.
Yep. Yeah, nickels and dimes.
He paid more for sex than.
Hey,
Oh, boom.
Fun fact.
The
with the
part
stat
that
man.
hurts is that Tony is capable. Like he's got the talent. But he's only booking what he likes. And I hate to say it, but if God forbid AEW fails, and I don't want it to fail. I want them to succeed. It's going to be Tony's fault. The other thing Tony fucking sucks at doing is making a good goddamn video game.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, garbage.
Now, I think
He's a tosser.
He's a sodding wanker.
There we go.
Wanker. I think the best
What
way
a wanker.
the best way to describe it is just because we may know something doesn't mean everybody knows something as far as wrestling in general, who the wrestler is. I think, again, we always say this. It's not the wrestlers. It's the guy in charge. And the guy who is in charge, who is the booker, is just all over the place. He needs help. We've said it many a times. I mean, if you listen to our last TSK, when we did the World's End, we vented our frustrations. Did all of us, and especially here in today's forum. But I look at it like
You
this.
all did. I
Yes, we
watched
did.
it
Go back
laughing.
to, and you go back to any of our weekly review shows, and you'll hear all of us fucking ranting and raving about everything that Tony Khan doesn't not fucking do.
Next week, we're
you'll hear,
getting
and it's there. You can hear more of my rants.
Kojima versus Cope. Book it,
Kojima.
Oh,
get your ass
Rob
over
and
here.
Mike sent it to me saying, make sure you watch it. And I sat there and I was giggling the whole effing time at all of you. So mad love, because that show was awesome.
Thank you.
I just watched TSK. I just watched TSK just to listen to Mo rant. That's all it is.
Fucking A.
Hey, but that's
shit.
Most people watch Deep into the Heart of Wrestling to watch me tell Punky's a tosser.
Yes, I
and
do.
Also
Yes, I do. And that's just to watch you. That's it.
To count how many times you say,
fuck Rob, fuck Michael. It's just you. That's all. That's all my fault. I even zoom in on the screen just to see you. Forget them.
Oh,
we say it on so many of our
I've
shows.
been lost about them too, though. But mad love at the same time.
That's probably why you need to be in the middle, so Paul can get a better zoom.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing, guys.
Also, so he can sit there laughing at me going, "Oh, just suck my dick, CM Punk, you piece of shit."
But that's the thing. When it comes to Tony and everything, again, he just needs to have a better perspective. Not every day is the best day of your life. Focus.
He needs to get laid, and maybe he'll be happy.
And also,
it needs to have some sort of storylines.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be extensive. It doesn't have to be long term. It just has to be something that makes sense. If it makes sense to the fans, guess what? You're going to bring in new people. You're going to bring in new people who want to watch your product, not just the people that you're trying to cater to, but you're trying to bring in new people. That's the whole point of wrestling. That's exactly what fucking Billy Corgan is doing. And granted, it's not perfect, it's not great, but hey, no, seriously, if you go back and watch, even during the pandemic, everything that they did during the pandemic, as like AEW, it was kind of sporadic, but as it continued and continued and continued, they got better and better and better. I watched the weekly show just to watch it. It's an hour out of my day, might as well just watch it. And guess what? Yeah. It's really good. It's better than what I expected and better than anything that I actually thought Billy Corgan would put together when he wanted to rebrand the NWA, especially from where it started at in the beginning of 2018, 2019. Even then, he's improved it so much.
I think that's the thing. I think we can all take away from today's show is just like, Tony, you need to improve. You gave us a lot of great upstarts, and you gave us AEW, which is still into fruition 6 years later as we recap the first year of it in the moments and memories. But I also will say this one final note. When you're doing a media scrum, you don't need to sit the whole entire time out there with the talent. Do you not know how to do a press conference? I mean, watch how WWE does it. Triple H comes out at the end with his glasses, which, oh my God, and he reads that. Like, you don't need to sit out there and hug everybody and just be buddy. Like, hey, everybody, how's it going? Yeah, I'm out here. Hi, everybody. I love you all. You don't need.
He looks like a lost puppy. He literally looks lost.
I need a hug.
He just looks lost.
I need a hug.
Yeah.
Hug me.
I need to be
Daddy
around.
didn't love me.
I'd be the last person he'd want to hug because, you know, demons don't hug. They burn.
Okada.
That's not true. That's not true.
Not true.
That's not true.
It is in this house.
Demons
All right, yeah.
So with that being said, y'all, I will
Don't
say,
tell my secrets, you.
with that being said, I really got to say this, with all the unhinged and all the minds that we have on this show, it's always a blast doing this with you guys. The laughs are always here. And before we close this out, I cannot wait to do another one. We have another topic in the fruition. We could talk ECW. We have a lot.
I'll let you lot do it next time. I'll keep my British mouth
No,
open.
we love you. We love you. You're fine. Mo, TSK, Max Wrestling, where can we follow you? The floor is yours, good sir.
Thank you, big dog. Yeah, no, as you know, the TSK is dropping episodes as fast as we can come out with them. We didn't do Wrestle Dream or Wrestle Kingdom, but I'm pretty sure if I convince the guys to do a little arm twisted, we could drop a couple episodes of that. We do got Rumble coming up, so we definitely will do that one. I kind of want to do something crazy. I've been wanting to try to do something live, maybe. So I don't know, maybe
Something wild,
TSK
something
goes
crazy.
live on the Max YouTube.
Do it live.
That's right. Do it live, attaboy. Speaking of Max, you could catch me each and every Thursday on Max Wrestling's YouTube page, Max Wrestling, where we discuss everything in the wide world of professional wrestling, from AEW, WWE, little New Japan every now and again. All the hot topics. We talk about shit's Mark Say, one of my favorite segments ever. And then, of course, our own little brand of madness, as we all were a part of it at one point in time, all the promo games and all the fun gimmicks and such. So we got Promo Rumble 10 coming up. I got nothing happening for me, but at least it's happening. It's going to be some fun.
Nice. And the links in the description for Max will be there to see all of our faces who have been on Max and everything from the TSK.
Not this one. My other one.
Other
My
one.
other face.
The scary one.
The scary one. Paul
By
Morales.
the way,
Yeah.
5 minutes before Scary Face comes out. Just let you know.
Demon Hour coming. Okay.
Demon Hour.
Paul Morales, as I slide to the left, like the cha-cha slide, where can we check you out? Dead Man of RWT. Hit me, bro.
Of course, the name's right there, Dead Man of RWT. You can find me there. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me up until they decide to turn it off. You can find me on pretty much anywhere. All the links will be below. You could also find me on X, which all my link tree is in there too. Also, one last thing I want to put out there, because Moses is here. Oh, Moses is here. Sorry, my bad on that side. Please go listen to all of our old fucking shit on his SMR podcast network. Please go listen to all of our stuff, man, because that's some of the most hilarious fucking times we fucking had. And I miss you, Moses.
Retro.
I miss you, Moses. I ain't gonna lie. I miss you.
Oh,
I miss
God.
fucking yelling at. I miss yelling at you at the beginning of the intro. That's what I miss
I've
doing.
been dying to get back into some retro nonsensory, so either that needs to come back. I've been also clamoring that somebody needs to review fucking Lucha Underground again. So
Hey, well, there's recaps of that on like Fuse at like midnight. I actually saw one of them like one of the other weekends. There's recaps, so they're on. So I mean,
you know what I mean, there's something that has to be done. The retro must come back.
Must come.
Yeah, back. So please go follow me everywhere. Go follow all these knuckleheads everywhere, including that beautiful lady that's up above, Mr. Robert Davis. Where can we find you at?
You can find me where I allow you to find me, but
shh, we're not supposed to be telling people where you find you.
That's true.
You know, I get what he means.
Deep into the heart of wrestling with this man right here and that crazy
lady up
to
there.
the left.
Oh, that lady up there.
Deep into the heart of wrestling. You can find all of our social media at linktree/BlackHeartsEBD3. We've got some cool things coming in the works. We have an origin show coming up. We're gonna talk about Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, however you want to address the gentleman, along with his wife Scarlett, their start from TNA to where they're at now on the main roster of WWE. Because it was Wrestle Kingdom season, we're going to be doing a watch through of Tetsuya Naito and Jeff Hardy from Wrestle Kingdom 9. Is it
9?
Yep,
9. So we're going to be doing a watch through of that match just because it was the Wrestle Kingdom season. So you can find us there. We do have all of our social media. You go check Mike's YouTube. We got all our episodes there. We got the Twitter. Fuck you, Elon. It's not X.
Hey,
Instagram, TikTok for a couple more days until they decide to turn it off. So we got Kicking It with the TSK. We just released a World's End review. First couple of days of the year. Definitely go check that out. We've got a lot of views on it. We've been pretty active on the social media front lately, so definitely go check us out. We have a link tree. You got linktree.com/KITTSW1. That'll be down there in the descriptions as well. We've got I think Mo already said what we're doing next. He doesn't have to twist this guy's arm because I'm all about it. Let's do that Wrestle Dynasty review and Wrestle Kingdom. Let's throw some DDT in there. Let's
now we're talking.
Let's get funky. Let's talk about some Noah. So go follow us over Kicking It with the TSK. We've got a lot of things coming up. For me personally, hey, it's linktree/hey, it's Rob. Working on some things, some new music dropping. If you're a fan of metal, electronic, 2025.
If you're a fan of Panda, he's going to be doing that too.
I'm going to be doing that too. It's going to be an ambitious year this year. So
salsa dancing, he'll do that too.
Yeah, he will do that. Linktree/hey, it's Rob. Come find me or don't.
Dan, you want to add that with your socials, man? Go ahead, Pundit. Go ahead, bro.
Pundit's gonna be coming back again. Work's being well. You know how work is. Y'all know how that life be. But you can join me there, as the gentleman mentioned, Kicking It with the TSK, where we always got something going. We always got something cooking. Always. And Mo, I'm always willing to chop it up with some retro stuff. Always willing.
That's right.
We got me, the Dead Man, and Larkin doing the weekly review. We just recorded last night. That should be coming relatively soon. That's what she said.
Heyo.
Heyo.
And Mike and I are going to be
multiple
doing
multiple times
of Uncaged, our first episode of this season, where we will be joined by Paul Morales, discussing one of the most controversial and underrated stars of the history of WWE, Muhammad Hassan.
Oof.
Wow.
Now,
Demoness.
Oh, here we go.
Nico McDonough, where can we find you on the social medias?
Right, well, first thing, go check out Max Wrestling, because currently the Demoness is part tag team champ, which Mo forgot to mention, so you're in my bad books for that one, mister. Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Tag team.
Yeah, go check Max. Go check it. I am with a shape. But anyway, yeah, go check that out. I don't know when that's coming up. I've totally forgotten. My bad.
Everybody's too afraid.
Yeah.
So you're good.
Yeah, Chris Ray's gonna die. Just saying. Anyway, is it that time? No.
1 minute.
A minute. Yeah, if you want to follow me, go to God, my brain's gone to crap now. Nicola Mac 853, the Demoness, on Twitter. Fuck you, Elon. And the Demoness on Instagram. But other than that, don't come find me, because I'll find you first, and you will die. Everybody dies. Black cars rise.
Beautiful. And if y'all want to check out this fine YouTube channel, Mike Larkin 92, hit the subscribe button, man. We are over 1,100 plus. Keep it on coming with all these amazing faces being a part of the great content and the channel. We're going to do another wrestling roundtable in the future. We're going to talk some ECW TNA with these fine faces. I love each and every one of y'all, really getting into the minds, so to speak, and really just so many different eclectic and unique personalities. And this is why I love each and every one of you, my friends. Stephen Mike
crazy.
Hey, SteveMicro.com, LFPfights.com.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. ICP.
How are you?
pay you. SM Show 1 MCL92 on Twitter, Larkin_92. I'm Larkin MB on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes another edition of the Wrestling Roundtable. I'm hyped, I'm psyched, and I'm ready to fucking go. Cock locked and loaded like Major Guns in WCW. For Moses, for Paul, for Robert, for DC, for Nicola, my name is Mike Larkin. And to close us out, one big thing, 1, 2, 3, everybody. I'll pay you!
I'll pay you!
Oh,
Full sex.
And fuck Tony Khan.